Imagine waking up to the acrid stench of smoke. Your home reduced to a smoldering skeleton. All because you dared to say no to a neighborhood busybody armed with a rulebook thicker than her sense of irony. That's the nightmare Quentin Vantel walked into one crisp Arlington morning. His quiet cul-de-sac life torched by the very people who preached community harmony, like it was gospel from a discount self-help seminar. But oh, the sweet, scorching twist. This wasn't just any victim. This was a federal judge who'd been quietly sharpening his legal knives while the HOA's queen bee buzzed herself straight into a federal sting. Quentin Vantel had always been the ghost of Willow Creek Estates. Retired Navy vet turned federal judge. He glided through his days like a shadow, mowed his lawn at dawn, paid his taxes with the precision of a sniper, and even tossed a polite wave at neighbors who treated him like he was invisible. No block parties, no gossip sessions over fences, just him, his loyal mutt pepper, and a house painted in the most inoffensive beige you could imagine. But in a neighborhood where conformity was king, Quentin's sin was mortal. He flat out refused to bow to the homeowners association. "Why join a club that fines you for breathing wrong?" he'd mutter to himself, flipping through his mail. The HOA, led by the indomitable Brenda Larch, a woman whose stacked haircut screamed, "I manage people like I manage my Tupperware collection," saw his independence as a personal affront. Brenda ruled with an iron clipboard, her meetings a theater of passive-aggressive decrees where community standards meant everyone else's yard had to match her vision of suburban perfection. It all kicked off innocently enough, or so it seemed, on a sunny afternoon when Brenda marched up Quentin's driveway like she owned the deed. Her lavender perfume hit him before her words did, a cloying cloud of self-righteousness. "Mr. Vantel," she cooed, peering at his porch light as if it had insulted her ancestors, "you're the last holdout on this block." Not being in the HOA, that's practically a violation of our cohesion covenant. Quentin leaned against his doorframe, arms crossed, his judge's poker face hiding a flicker of amusement. Cohesion covenant? Sounds fancy, Brenda. But I didn't sign up for your little social experiment when I bought this place. She blinked, her smile tightening like a noose. Well, we've passed a new motion, automatic enrollment after 90 days, retroactive. It's for the greater good. You see. Keeps property values up. Quentin raised an eyebrow, his voice steady as a gavel. Retroactive contracts? That's not how the law works, ma'am. I'm a judge, I'd know. Try enforcing that, and you'll be the one paying court costs. Brenda's glare could have curdled milk. She huffed away, muttering about uncooperative elements, but Quentin knew the storm was brewing. He'd seen her type in courtrooms, power-hungry bureaucrats who twisted rules like pretzels to suit their egos. The harassment started small, petty jabs wrapped in official stationery. First came the violation notice for his mailbox, black aluminum, identical to every other on the street, but suddenly deemed non-uniform because, as the letter sneered, it lacks the approved HOA flourish. Quentin chuckled darkly as he filed it away, snapping a photo for his growing HOA shenanigans folder. Flourish? What? Does it need a bow tie? He grumbled to Pepper, who tilted her head in canine confusion. Then the fine for unauthorized exterior hue, his beige house now branded off beige, as if shades of neutrality could offend. Brenda's notes dripped with sarcasm. We strive for chromatic unity, Mr. Vantel. Your deviation disrupts the aesthetic flow. Quentin paid none of it, instead documenting every absurdity with the meticulousness of a man who'd spent years building cases against real criminals. Neighbors whispered, "That guy's trouble." They'd say, egged on by Brenda's rumor mill. But Quentin stayed silent, observing how she'd pit folks against each other with her friendly reminders that were anything but. As weeks ticked by, the pranks escalated into outright sabotage, each one laced with that delicious irony only a corrupt HOA could provide. One night, Quentin's tires hissed flat in his driveway, slashed clean through. He installed cameras the next day, catching grainy footage of a hoodie-clad figure hurling eggs at his fence like some budget Halloween vandal. Tracing the license plate straight to Brenda's nephew, a slacker kid who'd probably thought it was just Auntie's errands. Quentin filed a police report, but the cops shrugged it off. Kids these days. Huh? Probably a prank. He smirked inwardly. Oh, the naivete. Brenda's board meetings buzzed with veiled threats. Her voice honeyed poison. Some residents think they're above the rules. But harmony requires sacrifice or consequences. Quentin recorded it all from afar, his neighbor Steve slipping him audio clips from hidden mics. "She's like a mob boss in pearls," Steve whispered one evening over the fence. Quentin nodded, his eyes sharp. "Mob bosses get taken down. Just wait." The real firestorm hit 2 weeks later, literal and scorching. Quentin returned from a long day in court to find his back door kicked in, flames devouring his living room like a dragon with a grudge. Half the roof caved in with a groan, smoke billowing into the twilight sky. Pepper, mercifully at the vet for a routine check, was spared. "Thank the stars," Quentin whispered, his voice cracking for the first time. Firefighters battled the blaze, but the damage was done. His home, his sanctuary, reduced to char and ash. The fire marshal pulled him aside amid the chaos, his face grim under the helmet. "Mr. Vantel, this was no accident." Accelerant poured along the porch base. "Professional job. Whoever did this knew exactly how to make it look natural." Almost. Quentin's jaw tightened, but his mind raced ahead. "HOA trouble," he admitted flatly. The marshal nodded. "We'll investigate." "But you've got enemies?" Quentin's laugh was bitter, echoing over the sirens. "Enemies? Nah. Just neighbors enforcing cohesion with gasoline." What Brenda didn't know, couldn't have fathomed in her lavender-scented bubble, was that Quentin had been one step ahead. 2 days before the Inferno, he'd filed a federal civil suit against the Willow Creek HOA harassment, property damage, extortion under the guise of community fees. He'd documented everything, letters stacked like indictments, photos of slashed tires, recordings of Brenda's veiled threats like, "People who don't play by the rules shouldn't feel safe here." And that morning, before the soot even settled on his mailbox, he'd signed the arrest warrant for her himself, his judge's pen steady as ever. The courthouse hummed with its usual bustle as Quentin strode in the next day, his home red-tagged uninhabitable overnight. He'd crashed at a nearby hotel, poring over timelines, adding the arson report to his arsenal. The civil clerk spotted him, her voice a hush. "Judge Vantel, Detective Rowan's in Conference 3 urgent." He nodded, weaving through beige corridors to find Rowan beside a whiteboard plastered with evidence. Photos, logs, a central shot of Brenda mid-rant with a stranger. "Morning, Quentin," Rowan said, pointing. "You nailed it." The board was a damning mosaic surveillance of shady figures, cash trails just shy of federal reporting limits. The man with Brenda? Derek Shaw, a greasy contractor who'd handled problem properties for cash under the table. Admitted to tires and irrigation sabotage on 3 others, Rowan growled. Folks who balked at fees. Says the fire wasn't him, but he's naming names. Quentin's eyes narrowed. She turned the HOA into a hit squad. Rowan nodded. Worse, structured withdrawals to dodge scrutiny. We're on financial crimes now. Prove-it funded harassment. And it's over. Quentin folded his arms. Subpoenas? I'll sign him. As he left, he muttered, She's spinning this as a vendetta? Wait till she sees real justice. That afternoon, Quentin bypassed his ruins and headed to the community park, where word of the fire had spread like, well, wildfire. A dozen residents huddled at picnic tables, faces a mix of fear and fury. Margaret, the retired teacher next door, approached first, her voice trembling. Quentin, we had no idea. Is it true she hired goons? He nodded, deadpan. True as her cohesion crap. Lewis, the landscaper in his dirt-streaked uniform, chimed in. She fined me for roses, said they clashed with the neighborhood vibe. Roses, like my yard's a fashion show. Murmurs rippled. A woman gripped her purse. She threatened my kid's lemonade stand. Unapproved commerce. Quentin held up a hand. I've got proof, footage, statements. 3 affidavits already filed. Why no one spoke up? She divided and conquered with fines. Margaret lifted her chin. What now? Talk, Quentin said. Share stories. Send them to the DA or me. Voices bury tyrants. By dusk, 20 pledged in. Some ex-board members spilling on Brenda's rigged votes and secret deals. The irony? Her unity had fractured everything. That night, over dinner with Judge Miriam Ellison, a no-nonsense colleague who'd gutted a similar HOA scam, Quentin laid it out. Freeze their accounts, she advised. Spearing salmon. Cornered rats raid the cheese. Motion filed, he replied. Signed by morning. She eyed him. All the way. Ha! They burned my house. Miriam. She nodded, as if arson justified Armageddon. Morning brought approval. HOA assets iced. Bank notified. Rowan raided Brenda's home simultaneously, calling Quentin mid-search. Burner phones in a drawer, texts to a second contractor. Eric. Tracing now. Quentin leaned on his chamber wall. Arson link. Payment days before. Labeled special handling. Cash. That night, Brenda's arrest was pure theater. Robe-clad, laptop in hand, deleting files as cops burst in. Her shrieks pierced the block. Quentin watched from shadows, his truck idling. Cohesion this, he whispered. The next day's community huddle in the rec hall was cathartic chaos. Quentin let them vent first. A guy fined for a trash bin lingering 25 minutes post-pickup, like it's loitering. Another for a bumper sticker. Political? In my driveway. A mom choked up, towed my daughter's car, said it disrupted flow. We ate ramen for a week. It wasn't control. It was cruelty. Brenda's standards a whip for her ego. When silence fell, Quentin rose. This ends. Starts better. Board dissolved. Court trustee in. Transparent elections. Hands flew up. Fines. Audited. Unlawful ones refunded. Lewis yelled. Her enablers? Not ignored. But truth first. Then rebuild. As folks dispersed, Margaret sidled up. You saved us. Quiet guy. He smiled wearily. Just did what she wouldn't. Follow real rules. Hotel window that night. City lights blurring. Quentin pondered, House gone, but community forged in flames. Unchecked powers poison, and he was the antidote. 3 days post-arrest, Theodore Pace rolled in like a sheriff from a bad western. Silver-haired trustee with court orders and deputies. Zero tolerance for games. Locks changed on the HOA office, a glorified shed in the clubhouse, and a bulletin notice slapped up. Operations suspended. No fines. No collections. Audit pending. Quentin skipped the show. He was grilling forensic accountants at the courthouse. Darlene Chin, lead examiner, tapped her spreadsheet. $80,000 in ghost withdrawals. Cash heavy. Labeled enhancement or compliance. My faves, discretionary enforcement. Like a mob slush fund. Quentin probed. Legit vendors? Half fakes, shell ops. Unlicensed thugs. 3 hits to Eric Huster. Tied to accelerant by 2 miles out. He leaned back, fist clenched. The smoking gun. She nodded. Diaz adding charges. Rain pattered outside. A fitting mood for introspection, or panic, if you were a complicit board member. Neighborhood fallout was swift and savage. Theodore's dig unearthed gems. Board cronies greenlighting family permits while fining others for the same. One idiot stapled a personal credit card payoff to HOA ledgers. Quentin returned to find a crowd milling outside the clubhouse, curious as cats. Vanessa, from across the drain, stepped up. They say you orchestrated this takedown. He shrugged. Nah, just enforced laws they ignored. A back row voice. True they tried to off you? Silence was his reply, eloquent as hell. Next morning, U.S. attorneys meet. Rowan. ATF agents eyeing the arson sophistication. Senior agent gravel-voiced. Pattern for max damage near gas line pro work. Folder slid over. Photos of Eric loading gas cans pre-fire. Picked him up, the agent said. Singing. Hired for intimidation. Extra $5K to scare you out. Implicates Brenda. Prosecutor. Conspiracy. Attempted murder. Racketeering. Grand jury on HOA as crime syndicate. Dissolve if proven. Quentin left with calm resolve. The storm's eye. Noon diner meet with Theodore. Bylaws allow dissolution vote if harmful. Petition shoved over. 60+ signatures. Got M. Quentin signed. Commons. Third-party trust. No boards. No BS. Evening forum in the gym. No gavels. Just mics and raw tails. Contractor. Blacklisted for skipping her fund. Lost clients. Teen. Mom fined $200 for my bike on porch. Skipped groceries. Votes tallied. 87% yeah. Court approved Dawn next. HOA vanished. Replaced by voluntary civic group, parties. Shared tools. Zero dues. Quentin declined advisory spot. Rebuilding's my gig. Insurance plus arson grant kickstarted his new brick fortress. Fireproof. Reinforced. Pepper's yard expanded. Mailbox armored. Sentencing 6 months on. Brenda got 12 years federal for conspiracy. Fraud. Murder attempt, eyes averted. Eric, 15. 2 board pleaders. Lifetime fiduciary ban. Margaret on steps. Neighborhood same? Better not. She. You're more than the quiet guy. He smiled. Sometimes quiet wins. Rain on new porch. Pepper at feet, threats gone. Just rebuilds rhythm. But wait. The plot thickened like bad HOA coffee. 2nd Tuesday, June. Sealed envelope from U.S. attorneys. Curtis Brennan's sworn spill. Ex-board ghost who'd fled. Confirmed second arson plot. Lewis's shed. Blamed on faulty storage. Wire transfer linked HOA cash to Eric's front. Case reopened. Quentin called Rowan. Wider probe. Yep, 9 bogus cases. 2 fraudulent foreclosures. Civil RICO potential. Quentin. Like mob loan sharks. Rowan. Task force wants your extras. Evening hard drive dive. Unearthed Brenda's off-record rant. Recorded stealthily. Non-participants? Above rules? Won't have a bed to sleep in. Sent to Rowan. Intent confirmed. Reopening conspiracy. Obstruction. Depositions blurred. Curtis back. Protected. Detailing rigged elections via dead residents' proxies. Indictments hit 7 more. Wire fraud. Perjury. Bribery for fake violations triggering liens. Neighborhood healed. Lewis's garden on old office lot. Condemned for shredded docks and freezer. Vanessa's dinners fostering bonds. Quentin joined one. Staying hours. Not bench-bound. Margaret asked. Leave time. You gave lives back. He nodded. Slipping pepper chicken. Final hush. 6 months post-second arrests. AG letter. Unlawful fines refunded. Liens wiped. Restitution fund. Lewis reimbursed. Vanessa's mom forgiven. Blacklisted contractor apologized with gigs. Quentin's house. Custom. Unchecked. Doorstep envelope. Fire photo. Back scrawled never again. Park stroll. Repainted benches. Flyers for fun, no threats. Vanessa waved. Seat open. He sat. Amid laughter. Understanding. Tide turned. Ashes to strength. So, was Quentin the hero who dismantled a mini-dictatorship? Or did his quiet vengeance cross into vigilante territory? Right or wrong?